and learning some terms. The super shorting of GameStop, AMC, and the subsequent shutdown of trading by Robinhood, the trading app.
I can explain this a lot of different ways, but I'm gonna make it very simple. The little dogs ganged up on the big dogs. That's what happened, right? But that's the easiest way I can explain it. But to get a little bit more detail, I'll break it down. So, you know, the stock market is a place where you invest in stocks, you own shares of company. Not only you, but these big dogs, these hedge fund investors, these professionals, they move billions of dollars on the day, right? Those are the big dogs, right? Then you have retail investors, affectionately known. Everybody knows about Robinhood. It's an app that's supposed to give the power to the people, make investing a little bit more attainable for your everyday man, right? But pay attention to that because I'm gonna come back to that in a second because it's pretty funny.
Okay.
But long story short, the way the stock market works, there's different little tools and tricks to it. There's not only that rule that says you have to buy low, sell high. You can actually bet, right, on the stock going down and make money from that. So most people think you have to buy a stock and it has to go up to make money. That's not the way Wall Street has it. They have a rule where they set it up so where you can do what's called a short, meaning you can borrow something, and if the price goes down, you can sell it back to that person, and then now that person owes you, right? Closest example I can think of is a pawn shop, right? You give them something, they give you some money. That's supposed to be a trade-off, right? But long story short, what's happened today and what's been happening recently is with the short squeeze is people realize that, hey, a lot of these big dogs, they borrowed and said GameStop was going to decrease in value, right? But how a short works is you make money if the stock price goes down, but if the stock goes up, you owe money, and not only that, you owe money on top of money, and you have to pay up. Like you have to pay. So what happened is a lot of the small guys, they got together. They said, hey, these big dogs, they think GameStop is going to go down. You know what? If we all push the price up, they have no choice but to buy something, right? So we could come in and bully them if we all work together to buy GameStop. It's not worth it. GameStop, they don't even make money, right?
Yeah, right.
They don't even make money. Why is their price going up 200%? They did nothing new. They didn't come out with any new products. But what happened is a group of little guys just got all their friends and said, hey, let's stick it to the big dogs. Let's drive this price up. The way that the stock market works is if that price goes up, whoever owns that short has to pay. So those billionaires, a lot of them, honestly, they lost their entire portfolio. Billions got lost. It's funny. And stop me if I'm not making sense because I'm going on a rant here. But
we tracking.
Right? Robinhood is supposed to be the app that, if you think of Robinhood, the story, it's like a childhood story, fable, whatever you'll call it. Steal from the rich, give to the poor, right? What's happened is the day of all days that Robinhood ever existed, this was the day when the small people actually took from the rich and gave it to the poor. You got people. I've seen some things in my team. We've made a ton of money on this, but when I look at some other things, I'm saying, man, what did I do wrong? Some things come by. You heard about Deontay making, $30,000, right, overnight, and that's a big deal. With this Robinhood thing, I've seen people make millions of dollars. Doing 20,000% return.
On shorts or what? Or just in general?
With GameStop. So they're doing the opposite thing.
With what happened today?
It's been happening today. It's actually been happening for a little while.
Okay.
So if you got in, but long story short, people have found a way to use that little trick, how to reverse it on the big dogs. And long story short, took from the rich, the poor people got their money. But what's funny, Robinhood actually shut things down. So imagine your name being Robinhood. Your name is based on, hey, you're supposed to take from the rich, give to the poor, and make it a little bit accessible. Once these little guys, you got people everywhere. You got people everywhere making thousands. It's just, I want to compare it to, after the protests when it was, rioting, right? People breaking and looting, just a lot of chaos. People just making, money's just flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? All you got to do is buy something. Buy anything, is going to the moon, right? The day that the small people are, they're getting their money up, Robinhood says, whoa. Even though there's no rule against this, we're going to stop y'all from trading. we're going to stop y'all from making all this money. So they halted trading, and now there's a huge issue. I know there's a lawsuit coming from all over the place, but long story short,
Yeah.
the company that's supposed to take from the rich, give to the poor. When the poor people started making some money, they shut things down.
So, all
Let
right.
me know if you got any questions there, because I know that was a lot. But
Yeah. So I do. So a couple points that just from my readings and jumping on a couple of other lives throughout the day. I stayed away from the news because I know their viewpoint is always going to be skewed. But what I saw was it started on Reddit, which is a chat room that I for one reason or another I'm not on. They do a lot of different. It's a different type of social media. But they organized, which which Reddit members often do. They organize. The news is calling it a meme, because by definition, that's what it was, copycats. But they organized and said, "Hey, let's a few of us do this and see if it catches fire," because they had been dialing in to because I learned this. I took a course a couple months ago. You can watch where hedge funds are putting their money. I didn't know that. Had no clue. And you can see it's all public record. They tell you, and so a lot of people lean towards where they're going. So what they picked up on was this particular hedge fund was going to short GameStop, which essentially, because like what you said, they're not doing business right now, it essentially was going to bankrupt them. Yeah. So they had malicious intent anyway. So when the people say, all right, let's knock that off, stop them from doing that, drive the price up. The price started at like $4. Today by a closing bell, I think it was like 380 or something ridiculous. So if you went along for that ride, putting in those orders, you got paid. And so with Robinhood stopping, my question to you is, I saw that Cash App was, because you can trade on Cash App now. I saw a lot of the other platforms did not. What was it about Robinhood and the I guess Melvin Capital, they're one of their parent funders? What was it about them that made them do that, knowing the backlash that would come?
This is never before seen territory, honestly. So a couple things. A few months back, right? We have the pandemic that went on, right? People have been getting more into investing, and they've learned about options. If you don't know about options, it's a very simple YouTube search can get you up to speed in a few seconds. You want to take a course? We have a course. There are many courses out there. Long story short, people not going to work, need money, got stimulus checks. They started to get into options, but options can be very risky if you don't understand them, or if you don't even know what you're looking at. So a few months back, last year, someone actually committed suicide. They lost their life because of trading on Robinhood. They didn't understand what they saw. The worst part is what they saw. If they would have understood, they probably wouldn't have taken their own life. But they saw them down, $700,000 to someone who's 19, 20 years old. Imagine telling your parents, "Hey, I'm $700,000 in debt." Right. So ever since that, they've been very, very particular about how they let people trade. They understand that there are a lot of people on the market who are playing with big toys and they don't know how these toys work. They're playing with dangerous financial instruments. You could put your life savings on something, it doesn't go your way, you can have $0. That's how this works. The money can go just as quick as it comes. So they've been really trying to overstep people. The problem is, though, even though they're trying to help people, what they did with this, I know it's their policy to be more helpful and kind of stop people from doing risky things. They actually hurt the small people by stopping the trading, because the only people who are losing are the really rich guys at this point.
Right.
So now it's funny because now it doesn't seem like their name should be Robinhood, because they're taking from the rich. They're keeping the poor people poor.
Right.
I saw something so funny, man. They said, I hope this goes along with this the show, but somebody said, "Man, you can't do anything in this country. You can't sell drugs. You can't even buy stocks. They don't want you to have anything." Right?
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely
that's I saw that and I started laughing.
I've been having that conversation all day on social media because people was like, "Man, this just goes to show you we need to have our own." That's no, that's not the answer. Like, the system is not built for you to participate in it, period. So whether you have your own that goes alongside with it, they're going to find a way to shut you down and keep you out. It has to be broken down and rebuilt. And what I saw today was, it kind of reminded me of V for Vendetta, because it was like the people really in a what do you call that? in an unknown and anonymous way, really pulled a move on the system. The connection you made with Robinhood really shutting it down as a matter of liability. I was unfamiliar with that. I can see that now
Mm-hmm.
because they of course they didn't see this coming, but they probably want to get ahead and be like, well, we don't, we know we got a lot of amateurs over here, and we don't want bodies. We don't want that on our conscience. So I could see that, but with the backlash, and now subsequent lawsuits, and then now even mentioned, I heard on News Talk just now, a bailout. Like how dare y'all? How dare y'all even have that conversation when every time poor people ask for money, it's an issue. But now you waged war against a company, played the angle, lost, and then you think the people supposed to save you?
Yeah, they robbing the hood now. Like I see a lot of great comments here. I don't know how you even pay attention with all these good comments. The people hitting it right on the head, man. Can you call this outsider trading? Robin Hood did a hood wink, all of that. That's so true. And I think they're going to get a lot of backlash. I saw something crazy today that I haven't seen maybe since January 6th. I saw Republicans and Democrats agreeing on something. I saw AOC, who's this person who is, the most one of the more liberal folks, and you have a Republican, right? And they're saying, hey, what Robin Hood just did was wrong. So when you got both sides of the government, I think even Donald Trump Jr. So Donald Trump Jr. and AOC, people who are on the opposite sides of this political game, agreeing against Robin Hood, right? I think you got a big problem on your hands.
Yeah.
I think you got a big problem. And the best way to find out about us is also our Instagram. I can share that with you.
Yeah.
Underscore table. How we do it. Long story short, we don't like to put people out there without educating them. Most people don't like to take the slow approach, but how we do it, we like to take a group of people, focus on them only, and make sure they're equipped so that they never need us again. So that's kind of our thing. It's very different. Most people don't do it that way, but we want to get people educated, man. It's not about relying on us. It's about getting you to a point where you're self-reliant. So definitely the teach a man to fish approach is what we got over here.
Absolutely. Let me get in your pockets a little bit. Did y'all play the angle today? Did y'all get a chance did y'all come up?
I didn't personally, but my people did. We got a lot of people we trade with. My goal as a leader, I try to play it more safe because people follow you. You got to set the tone, lead by example. Something that's as risky. The way I see the stock market, there's money every day. People tell me, hey, you missed this, you missed that. Well, I'm like, y'all don't understand that this isn't going anywhere.
Right.
So I'm just glad that the people I taught, our group chat, man, we're still counting. Last time I counted was close to 200K. From Gamestop and on other things, they're just giving out really good advice to each other because it's a group of people. The best way I could put it, everybody know about Clubhouse. Imagine getting in the Clubhouse, but everybody actually knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, right.
That's what we got over here. So people made a lot of money off of this, but like I said, there's some folks who really capitalized and made millions of dollars off this GameStop thing.
Now, do you see it continuing? Do you see it like these groups mobilizing and doing it to other stocks, or do you see the Fed coming in and be like changing the rules? Because once black people get into anything, they change the rules.
Absolutely, that's a great. I have that same question. Okay. There's two sides to it, right? The stock market is a market where, in most other things, democracy prevails, but on the stock market, not so much. It's if you lose type of game. There's no charity. There's not supposed to be charity on the stock market, right? You're not supposed to be babied. If you make a bad decision, you lose money.
Right.
That's how that works, right? But trying to prohibit people and baby them and take certain things away from them, I think it goes fundamentally against why the stock market even exists and how it exists, right?
Right.
So I don't think they understand how big of a problem that was. And like I said, you got Republicans and Democrats agreeing on something. They got a problem. It's going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting because that lawsuit. Now I'll say this: some of the stocks that they stopped, they've already said, okay, we're going to back off. So it'll be interesting to see because what you said was so true. Once black people start getting into stuff,
They get regulation coming down the hallway. Yeah.
party's over, y'all. Black people, they
We
making
got
money.
Mo from the investors table. You got a quick minute to take a couple questions.
Absolutely.
All right, so we got a segment called Against the Law. We bring in Ike Speaks, an attorney, criminal defense attorney. She has some questions about margin calls. So I'm gonna bring her in. Welcome to the program, Ike Speaks.
Family, thank you for having me once again, and thank you for. I just got on Instagram. I'm now following you, and I'm going to have my son take your class. But I wanted to. He's 25. He needs to get busy. But I wanted to ask you, and I wanted you to warn because I think this is going to trigger a lot of our people to try to get into the market, and they need to be warned about trying to buy stocks on margin. So can you just tell us a little bit about that and how people woke up thinking they had some GME because they bought it on margin, and then that shit got called and they didn't have shit.
So here's how we do it in our class. You will never hear us say do anything on margin because the way that margin calls work, you're putting yourself into an unlimited risk, right? There's an old saying, don't test the waters with both feet, right? A margin call is somewhat like jumping in the water. You don't know what's in that water, how deep it is, how hot it is, anything. So just to get a little bit more specific, when you buy a stock on margin, what happens is you're somewhat borrowing money in order to buy something that you don't have, right? If that moves in the opposite direction, and most people on margins, even with the short squeeze, what happened with the investors the billionaires who lost that money, some of that money might have been on margin, but it's the same concept. They bet on that stock price to go down, right? If a stock price is $10, in GameStop, I can go and check exactly. I believe it was around $66 or actually around $15, right? They may have bet, hey, this is going to go down to $5, right? GameStop is currently around $300, and it can go to $1,000. There's no limit to it. So essentially, what that means, if you buy something on margin, it's like having an unlimited credit card, and you never know when they're going to say that bill is due.
Okay.
You don't know what the due date is. You don't have no idea.
But if you're not a savvy investor, or if you're new to this, it might look attractive that you are able to buy some stock with somebody else's money. But that's how you have to. You wind up committing suicide later.
And I hope I'm answering that question. But if anybody ever comes to me asking me about margins, I'm going to tell them not even to think of delete that from your vocabulary. Yes. There's a lot of ways to make money that won't commit you to have you want to commit suicide. If you want to put yourself at risk, go ahead down. I mean, it's just that simple. Don't do it. There's a lot of other ways, and as you learn more, what I think Robinhood tries to do is to keep people from doing those types of things. But what we can do, what I think everybody should do, is just educate yourself. Just educate yourself, because these things can go the opposite of where you want them to go, and when that money is due.
So now let me do this disclaimer. We're let's go live. We're not giving out stock tips or advice. I don't care. Y'all should be smart enough to figure it out on your own. But so let me ask you, what does that do? Does that do, you're saying making a statement, and do you lose by doing that? Because I want to close my account out. I don't know how.
It depends. It depends on what your options. I mean, what your positions are looking like. I might have been down here or there, but I didn't care at that point.
I'm all the way up from when I went in March.
Well, look, you could transfer. You could transfer the fee, right? Mo, you can transfer. I know a lot of people that are transferring from Robinhood to Fidelity. There are some fees included. I think it's a $75 transaction fee, but I heard that that's refunded.
Okay.
You do change. So there's a lot of, listen, there's going to be a lot of apps out there like Fidelity that are like, well, you Robinhood people, come on over here. We love you.
Yeah.
Come on through. We won't do you like that.
Okay. That's good to know. What is there a penalty? Is there a because you're selling your stocks and you're not.
I sold them low. I sold a couple low. That's the only. I mean, Mo, you can jump in. I'm not the expert on this part, but I sold.
That's why I brought you back, because I was asking.
$2 but I sold some high, and that it was an offset. So
only only people who are not smart think they have nothing to learn from everybody. So you might teach me something. I firmly believe that. Okay. Anybody come talk to me about stocks? I'm always trying to listen. I'm always learning. But there's some fees you can switch over to apps like Webull. Thinkorswim is what I recommend, but there's a lot you can do there.
I heard Webull stopped GameStop too.
The problem with Robinhood is they're the face.
Mm-hmm.
So even though some of these other apps, they did the same thing as Robinhood, people call them Robinhood investors when they mean retail investors, right? Mm. So they're the face of it. Even though everybody did what Robinhood did for the most part, right. They're the face, so they're going to take all the blame because they had the name. So.
Got it. So Fidelity, Webull, those are viable alternatives in your opinion?
Cash App too.
I saw that today. I didn't even know that Cash App did that.
You can buy crypto on Cash App too.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
Coinbase for crypto.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not advertising for these apps.
Right. True.
That I use.
Yeah, I'm trying to be careful of that too. Exactly. I just know I want to close my shit down and not be penalized because I think I'm up last time I checked. But what happens to those individual What happens to those individual stocks that I sell in that portfolio, or do I transfer my ownership into the other platform?
They want your money. They will help you. They have a process. One of my investors, they said that they lost some money switching over to Webull, but they take some fees, and of course there are taxes as well. But they can help you transfer it if you just visit their customer service. That's the best way because they know the ins and outs.
Okay.
But I did want to say one thing that Robinhood did that I'm thankful for. Mm-hmm. They made it so that they bullied all the other brokers to make trading free. I don't know if that'll change with all of this though. That might be one thing they do.
Go back to the commission trading, yeah.
They might say, "Hey, this got crazy. Let's put money on it." So we'll see. But they did make it free for everybody. So thanks for that. But then they took the money right back once people started making money.
So quick question from the Peanut Gallery, Mr. Clarkson, our executive producer, because this was in my head too. Is my next question. Is it smart business for me to move all my stuff over from Robinhood to another platform, but stay on Robinhood, like keep it open to be involved in the class action suit?
That's a great question. I'm not sure you'll be involved in the class action suit if you didn't have any GameStop shares, first of all. Right.
I'm going to just disagree with you a little bit because if you had Robinhood and you attempted to buy
there we go
shares and you were not allowed to, then you should be part of the class action because in effect you have been harmed.
I see. I just learned something.
Yeah,
so I might need to put my piece in. Hey,
I'll make that.
How do you prove that you tried? Because I tried. You know what I'm saying? I was asleep, but I had thought about it.
They got a record of everything. They got a record of all of that. They'll tell you, you wouldn't be. We couldn't complete this trade or whatever may have you. Yeah, I tried to buy AMC. I even looked at AMCX because AMCX was going up as well. A lot of people weren't looking at the AMCX stock.
Okay. All right, y'all. 765 let's go one. We'll take a couple calls if you're open to it. 765 let's go one. 765 let's go one. It's a live show. We're talking about the fiasco that happened on the stock market today. Well, fiasco for some, but definitely a game changer. And I really think regulation is coming. And like you said, with the joining of the politicians, both sides of the aisle, seeing that this was a real tricky situation. I feel like it's coming sooner than later.
I agree.
Sooner than later.
I agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now I saw it was Southern District of New York. Now that's the Letitia James office.
No, that's the Attorney General. That means that's the prosecutors. That is the feds.
Because every time I see something like that, I think it's just coming out of her office.
This was a person.
Oh, okay.
I don't remember the name. I think Brendan somebody. I'm not exactly sure who he is, but it's a private person who is seeking class status for this lawsuit. Okay. So it's not a government entity bringing the action. It just happens to have been brought in federal court in the Southern District of New York.
Okay.
All right. So Ms. James was not involved in this. She's got her hands full with bankruptcy court.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Mo. All right, Mo. Last question, and then I'm gonna let you go again. Oh, wait a minute. We got a call. Hold on. Let's see who that is. Oh, yeah, it's John. Hold on. The question I was going to ask was, after I was trading, is this thing that happened today? Is it still going on? Is that price still rising as we speak?
Absolutely.
Really?
Absolutely. So GameStop right now is up 50% after hours. It closed at $153. It's currently at $289.
Wow.
Because it seems like there was a little bit of a walk back when some of these stocks said, "Hey, we're actually going to continue trading. We don't want to be a part of this. Take our name out of this." Is what I've observed. So still going on. We don't know what's going to happen. But stocks don't move 50% for no reason.
Yeah.
That's just not what happens. Options do, but stocks, they don't. So it's still going on.
Wow. Okay. All right, let's go to the phones. John Watson, our New York bureau chief. Welcome to the program, sir.
What's happening? What's happening, good people?
Can y'all hear?
Yep.
You hear me?
Yeah, we got you. What's a good word?
All right. And so I wanted to ask the brother about his course, because I'm really, Lamont and I, we spoke about this. I'm looking at, I'm trying to find a course, for myself to take. So a few questions. One, is it more so for people who know a little bit about a little bit, or is it straight starting from scratch? So I mentioned in chat. So I have a Schwab account, right? That's how I make my little trades and move my little back and forth. Can I continue with my Schwab account and make the moves that you're going to teach through there, or do you require folks to have a specific account and a specific fund? And then the continuing education portion, what does that look like as well? So I want to be able to not make some money, but I want to be able to get to that level to where you guys are talking about, where you're making something a little bit more sizable, based on good knowledge.
Right. So you don't have to have any specific account. We don't, like Robinhood, we're not restricting your actions. You can do what you want, trade on any account you want. But with the class, how we do it, it's really set up like a class for people's benefit. Even if you're experienced, we're going to start you at ground zero, because there's probably some things you missed that'll help you save some money one day. The next class, we actually have the class going now, but the next class doesn't start till actually July, because we have a group close to 100 people who are learning from ground one, and we're giving them all of our time. Because the best way to learn the stock market is to take yourself out of it, learn before you get in. The money's not going anywhere. As long as the stock market exists, you'll be able to make money. But our next class isn't live right now, but we're not going to restrict you from, if you have Charles Schwab, you have E-Trade, Ameritrade, we don't restrict you. But we do just ask people, if you come in, just trust the process. Just learn first. What's wrong with learning before you get in? But hopefully that answers your question there.
Yeah, Lamont.
Yo.
Lamont, at the end of the day, you know where we're trying to go.
What's that? Where the money resides?
We're trying to go where the money resides.
Yeah. Yeah. John Watson.
You see that first question on that website? Is this a get-rich-quick scheme? Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. All right, John, I'll see you tomorrow. That's our co-host for tomorrow.
Yeah,
all fun and games. All right, so there's that. All right, Mo, once again, I appreciate you. I'll let you go for real this time, man. But hope to have you and the good brother Deontay back on real soon to talk shop.
Pleasure meeting you, Mo.
Thanks for having me.
I don't care if it is a clock.